Hmm. Hello everyone and welcome to the English class by Nusrat Jhan. Today we are going to do the first chapter of your book, The Last Lesson. How amazing it is! The first chapter is named as The Last Lesson. Actually, the author is describing here the last lesson of his teacher of French language. In this class, we are going to cover 5 main points. Number 1, about the author. Number 2, background of the story. Number 3, theme of the story. Number 4, summary of the story. And number 5, questions and answers. So let's begin about the author. Alphonse Daudet, the French novelist and a story writer, was born in 1840 and died in 1897. The background of the story is a Franco-Prussian War in the year 1870 to 1871. France was defeated by Prussia. Prussia at that time was consisting Germany, Poland and parts of Austria. Theme of the story. The author is describing in the story the impact of the war on the lives of people, importance of language or linguistic identity, that is, as we speak Hindi or English and suddenly we are asked to speak in some other language, how bad we will feel. That is being described in the story. Now let me summarize the story. Franz, the little school going boy, was unwilling to go to school that day as his French language teacher, M. Hamel, had asked him to learn the rules of participles, and he did not learn that. He was afraid of being punished by his teacher with the iron rod. Outside, the weather was fine. He wanted to enjoy the nature, looking the Persian soldiers drilling. But still, he made up his mind and started running for the school as he was already late. On the way outside the town hall, people were gathered around the bulletin board. He also wanted to join them to see the news as all the bad news of lost battles and orders of commanding officers were coming through that bulletin board during those days. But then again he controlled himself and rushed towards his school. When he reached the school garden, to which he called M. Hamel's garden, because his teacher M. Hamel used to take care of the school's garden, he found himself, he found unusual quietness like Sundays. Usually, the sounds of the school, like dragging of benches, teacher beating their ruler on benches, students reciting their lesson, all together could be heard outside even in the streets. But that day it was totally quiet. He reached to the classroom, fearing that his teacher would scold and punish him. But to his amazement, the teacher said, "Go to your place quickly, Franz. We were going to begin without you." In the classroom, everyone was sitting quietly at their places. After some time, when he came out of the fear of his teacher, he noticed unusual atmosphere in the classroom. The last benches, which were usually found empty, few elderly villagers were sitting on it. He noticed the teacher was wearing his fine Sunday clothes, frilled shirt, green coat, embroidered hat, which he used to wear on prize day or on any formal function. While he was wondering on all these unusual surroundings, he heard his teacher's words, who said, "My dear children, today is your last lesson of French language, as an order has come from Berlin that only German will be taught in the schools of Alsace and Lorraine." What a thunderclap these words to him! Thunderclap means shocking. Immediately Franz understood what would have been written on that bulletin board. He understood why the villagers were sitting on the last benches of their classroom, as they wanted to show their gratitude to Am Hamel for his 40 years services of teaching. They wanted to show respect for their nation, and also they were sorry that they had not gone to school more. He himself was sorry for not learning French language. Suddenly, he forgot his teacher's cranky nature and his ruler, and he started liking him. His books, which he used to feel as burden, now he felt as if they were his old friends whom he never wanted to lose. While he was thinking all that he had heard, his name was announced. It was his turn to speak the rules of participles. He stood with his head down and got mixed up with first word. M. Hamel did not scold him. He said, "It is not you, not only you, who is responsible for this. You people postpone the learning till tomorrow, feeling that you have plenty of time to learn." He said, "I am also responsible for this, for your not learning French language, because whenever I wanted to go for fishing, I called it a day, and many a times I sent you to water my plants instead of teaching. Your parents are also responsible, as they wanted you to help them in earning money." Then he spoke about French language. He said French is the most beautiful and logical language in the world. We must not forget it, we must safeguard it. When people are enslaved, it is the language which works as a key to prison. That means language is the only thing or source which keeps us united in miserable time. That day, whatever the teacher taught, Franz heard it with keen interest and found everything so easy, so easy. The teacher whom he did not like appeared to him as he was teaching so well and trying to teach everything all together on his last lesson. After grammar, they had the writing class. They had to copy the words France, Alsace, France, Alsace. Everyone did the writing work so sincerely and silently that no sound except scribbling of pen on paper could be heard. That time, the sound of pigeon was heard from outside. Friends thought that the German could impose their language over the people only. They can't make the animals speak in their language. Means that humans can be enslaved, but the animals are free. They can't be enslaved and enforced by the Germans to speak German language. When everyone was writing the words France and Alsace, those words appeared to them as if they were the floating flags of France on the benches. At that time, M. Hamel was looking from one thing to another as if he wanted to keep everything in his mind. He could hear his sister packing the luggage. He could hear the sound of the trunk. You can imagine how broken hearted he would be at that time. But still, he had the courage to listen the lesson till last. Then they had the history class. All recited their lesson in unison, including the elderly villagers sitting at the last benches. All got emotional and were crying while reciting the lesson. Then the church bell struck 12. It was the prayer time, and they heard the sound, and the trumpet German army was returning after the drill. M. Hammer stood up and said, I. Then he could not speak as he got emotional and turned towards the board and with large letters wrote on the blackboard, Vive la France. That means, Long live France. And through the gesture, he said, Class is dismissed, you may go. So, this was the last lesson of French for the author, which he could never forget. So, this was the summary of the chapter. I hope you would have understood it well. I want you all to read the chapter thoroughly so that you can understand it very well. Here are few questions which are there in the book, and few extra questions also I have prepared for you people. So let's discuss them. Extra questions you will have to do. NCERT questions I am going to tell you the answers shortly. What is friends expected to be prepared with for the school that day? This is question number 1. That is rules of participles. What 3 things did Franz notice that were unusual about the school that day? Here they have not mentioned 3 things. What did Franz notice? But I say that write here 3 things so that you can understand this is a short answer. Sometimes long answer question also comes in this way. So 3 things, when short answer come, you have to write only these 3 things, like outside no sound was coming, inside the villagers were sitting, and the teacher in his fine Sunday clothes. What had been put up on the bulletin board? This is question number 3. All bad news of lost battle and orders of commanding officer were coming through that board. What changes did the order from Berlin cause to school that day? That it made everyone said, the teacher, the students, the villagers, and they all suddenly had the love for their language and for their nation. How did Franz feeling? Question 5. How did Franz feeling about M. Hamelin's school change? When he heard the order of from Berlin that only French will be taught in the school of Alsace and Lorraine, he forgot his teacher's cranky nature and his ruler, and also the books which he did not like or which he used to feel as burden. Now he started feeling them as if they were his old friends whom he never wanted to lose. Now these questions are they are from your book. I am going to give you some extra questions. They are: question 1. What a thunderclap these words were to me. What were those words that shocked the author? You have to write the answer. Question number 2. Why were the elders of the village sitting in the classroom on that day? Question 3. Why did M. Hamel reproach himself for his students' unsatisfactory progress in studies? Question 4. What did M. Hamel say about the French language? Question 5. What did M. Hamel write on the board before dismissing the class? What does it mean? I hope you all will practice it, do it, and if you have any problem in solving these questions, I am always there to help you out. Feel free to approach me. Thank you.